Okay, so you've probably heard about my exciting new bike sponsorship with Cube, and I'm going to tell you all about it in this video, how the partnership came to be, and about my amazing trip in Germany to meet Cube and have a tour of where they're based. Okay, so day one of our trip to meet Cube, we obviously hopped on a plane, flew over to Munich, and then we hopped in a Cube van and then drove over to the HQ.
We've been trying to do this trip for ages, and COVID have made it more and more difficult. So we finally thought it was going to happen this time. So we planned ahead, all had our COVID tests yesterday. So at about 4:15, I looked at my phone this morning and I had mine negative. Was like, tick, I'm good to go, which is a big plus after the last time I came back positive, which is another long story. But Kaz and Holly, who's behind the camera, didn't have their result at all. So we were like, this is a bit weird, but maybe it's just taking a little bit longer. So we went and spoke to the testing people who said that they've got it on their system, but the result is inconclusive. So they are going to now do a rerun of the test, and we should know within an hour. So I checked in because I knew I was good to travel. However, we're a bit more cautious about checking in Kaz and Holly's luggage, as it might be going to Germany and not them. So eventually, after waiting for about 2 hours, 5 minutes before check-in shut, we got their negative results back and we was able to get on the plane. So that was good. We made it on a plane. We thought not really anything else could go wrong. Flew to Frankfurt and then across to Munich, and Kaz and Holly's bags didn't make it. So this is like a little roller coaster of fun, but I'm sure everything's going to be good now and we're going to have a really good trip.
Got off the plane, got into a car and drove to the HQ, where we got to meet a couple of members of the team, have a short little meet and greet. I actually got to see the bikes that I'm going to be riding in the flesh for the first time, so that was really exciting, just to get that real impression of the bike, what it looks like, what it feels like, and ultimately those first impressions were really good, so that was just a big tick from my side. I also got to try on some of the kit that I'll get to wear, so all of the casual wear, the clothing, just make sure the sizings were right, get a feel for the products, tell the guys what I love, what I maybe don't like so much, so that going forward we are able to maybe develop some clothing that I really like and that I'm going to get on with and want to wear all the time. And then after that we went back to our accommodation where we were going to be staying for a few days, which was just absolutely amazing. It was like one of the nicest places I've ever got to stay, set up with turbos ready to go, so I was able to train. Yeah, ultimately first day was really good. Got the travel out the way, got to do a short bike session in the evening as well. So yeah, ultimately very, very good to start the trip. Day two was a pretty jam-packed day. We started off the day by heading over to the HQ and actually having a small tour there, meeting some more members of the team, seeing where all of the different people who work there actually work, and just basically have a full explore of where they are based. I actually got to have a conversation with many members of the team at Cube, but this one particular individual was someone who's fairly high up in Cube. He actually goes and visits all of the local distributors just to see how they're getting on in their local stores. And he had gone to visit one particular store, which I think was just in a very small village in Germany. And the guy who heads up that store was saying, I know what Cube need. They just need a top athlete who we can work with. One of the big names in the sport, and he went on to say, I know who we should get. We need Lucy Charles. He said, but I don't think we'd be able to get her. And the guy who heads up all of the dealerships and the sales was kind of laughing away, saying, oh yeah, wouldn't that be good? And he did say that he had met me at some race or some airport, and apparently I was really nice, so that's good to hear. But yeah, pretty excited for him to find out that I am going to be part of the Cube family.
We teach Lola to ride a bike.
We also went to the lab testing where they put their bikes through the testing that it would do for its whole life as a bike. So it's put through all these strains and stresses to be tests so that they know it's ready to go out and be sold and for people to actually use it. So the amount of testing that goes on in there is really extensive, from your mountain bike, road bike, the race bikes. All of the bikes that they make go through the same testing protocol. So it's amazing just to see the technology in there and how much the frame is being pulled, pushed, forces being put through it to make sure that it's going to be suitable for the rider that's going to be using it. So that was super impressive and a pretty cool way to start the day. After we had a tour around the HQ, we headed over to the factory where all of the parts of the bike are basically put together so they can be shipped off. So it's like a giant conveyor belt of Cube bikes, wheels, pedals, everything is just being put together so that it can be boxed and then shipped. So it almost reminded me of like a bike roller coaster, because everything is just going around, moving, and everyone has their certain stand that they work on, whether they're attaching the wheels to the frame, putting the tyres on the wheels, just all the different components going together. So that was really, really impressive to see. After we'd had a tour in there and seen all of that happening, we headed over to one of the warehouses where all of the bikes, once they're boxed and ready to be shipped, are put in there. So we had a little bit of a photo shoot in there, which was a pretty cool location actually, to just get some shots with me and the bike. They actually said that at the moment, because of the situation with COVID, it wasn't as busy in there as it normally would be. Normally all of the aisles would be full of bikes ready to be shipped. It still seemed pretty impressive to see how many boxes were in there ready to go. After that, we headed back to the HQ again. We had another bit of a look round. So a super cool thing about myself and Cube that I think personally ties us together really nicely is that Cube was actually established in 1993, which was the year that I was born. So it just feels like a really nice little connection there. And yeah, like I said, I'm really excited to be part of the Cube family.
So I've asked for one of these for Lola so we can get her trained going out for bike rides. I think we might have to get a few more dogs though, maybe like at least 3 in there.
And we had a couple of meetings. The first one was looking over the different TT bike designs, the colour schemes, and actually getting to work with the team on what I would like the bikes to look like for races throughout the year, and so that I can make that really custom fit with the kit designs that I'm going to be wearing. So I've never got to do this before, so this is really, really exciting, where I actually got to see the paint samples, the different colours, how it would look when it was complete, all the different parts, how they can put the logos on there as well. So that was really cool because, like I said, I've never actually got to custom choose how I'd like the bike to look, and it's always something I've wanted to be able to do. So that's pretty exciting, and I can't wait to see what these bikes are going to look like when they're in the flesh and I'm actually going to get to race them. So that was a pretty fun meeting. After that meeting, I went and did some different photo shoots. One was wearing the different clothing range that Cube have, so just putting on the different t-shirts with different backgrounds, and then we also did a few of the shots with the bikes as well. So very soon you'll get to see some of these shots, and I'm sure we're going to be putting them out throughout the year, but that was another pretty fun photo shoot with lots of outfit changes, which I feel like as a triathlete you should be pretty good at anyway, but I feel like I'm becoming a pro at doing a quick outfit change. And then after that we started to have a look at the custom TT bars that are going to be made for me. So we were just looking at my existing bars that I have and then transferring over to a new set that will fit on the new bike that I'm going to be riding. So to end day 2, we actually went and did a run around in the evening, which was in a small little village not far from where Cube are based. I think it would actually be a really quite picturesque run, but obviously we were running in the pitch black. Luckily we had head torches on, and we also had one of the guys from Cubes on a bike with a light so we could see where we were going. But that was just good to be able to get some training in at the end of the day as well, before heading back to our accommodation. Action. So day 3 started off, we went to a photo shoot location which was in an underground car park, and Cube had got some really cool lighting in there, so we were doing some shots with the bike where I'd basically walk up to the bike and the lights would come on. And actually it was a really cool location to do a photo shoot. Like, I didn't really know what to expect, but kind of from having a sneak peek at what some of these shots look like, I think they're going to be really cool. You've probably already seen them by now, but if you haven't, make sure to go and find them, because it was actually a really, really fun photo shoot, despite it being absolutely freezing in there. But I was well looked after from Cube because we had heaters in there trying to keep it warm. But probably one of the coolest photo shoots I've done so far. Once we'd done the photo shoot, we headed back to the Cube HQ and we had a couple more meetings. The first one was with their fashion team and their fashion designers, so looking at the different clothing ranges that they are looking to produce for this year. So looking at colour schemes, styles, what I like, so how I like different design shapes of t-shirts, vest tops, hoodies, basically anything you can think of. We're going to work with myself and Cube to design exactly what I want it to look like. The next meeting we had was actually being talked through the TT bike and the road bike and all the different elements of the bike, so that obviously then I am fully educated on the bike that I'm going to be riding, but then when you guys have got questions for me, I'll be able to answer them. So just basically looking at maybe why the bike is shaped in a certain way for the airflow, when it's been wind tunnel tested, the components of the carbon. So the main bikes that I will be riding are the Aerium TT bike and the Lightning road bike. Cube also do a whole range of really cool bikes that I'm hoping to get to ride. Many of you will know that I also like to go out and mountain bike in the forest that I live. I like to take my cross bike out in there as well. Normally in the winter I prefer to go out and ride my cross bike, so I'm hoping to get to try all of these bikes. There also is another bike that I did get to ride when I was having one of my tours, which is the Cargo Hybrid, which is actually an e-bike that has a huge kind of container on the front where you can put whatever you want in it. Obviously I want to put 10 dogs in there, so I need to get 9 more to go with Lola. But I definitely would like to get my hands on one of those to go and play around in the forest or just cycle along the canal. But like I said, there is a whole range of bikes, but the Aerium and the Lightning will be the ones that I'll be using the most. So basically both the Aerium and the Lightning bikes are C68, which is the carbon and the resin makeup of the bike. And normally most carbon bikes are 60% carbon and 40% resin, and it's actually the resin that is the heavier element of the two. So Cube have been able to make it 68% carbon, so it is lighter, but it still has the same strength in the structure. So it should be fast and strong at the same time, which is exactly what you want for any bike that you're going to be racing on. So yeah, very cool. Okay, so the second part of day 3, we got to do 2 different kind of shoots in the afternoon. The first one was making my own GIF, which I have done once before with Red Bull, which is one of those things where you just have to fully embrace what you're doing, otherwise the GIFs come out and you just look really awkward. So it's kind of, you've got to fully commit to just going with it, trying not to be awkward. I haven't seen them yet, so I don't know if I was successful in not being super cringy and awkward in these, but I can't wait to see them. They will be available on Instagram, I believe, for stories and things like that. So we made a whole range of GIFs that should be usable every single day depending on what your mood is. But yeah, like I said, I do look forward to seeing how well or not well I did on the GIF shoot. After that we did a bit more of a serious video shoot where we were answering questions and I was actually talking about my experiences in sport, in triathlon, and my kind of journey into the sport, what my aspirations are, goals are, which again, I haven't seen any of it yet, so I'm really excited to see how that all comes together. And I think it'll be a great one to watch once it's there for you guys to see as well. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that one as well, because I had a lot of fun filming it. And it was just really cool to actually relive some of my experiences and just talk about how I got into the sport and what my goals are still in this sport that I'm doing. So yeah, definitely look out for that one. Okay, so to end day 3, I actually had a Zwift race, which I was able to do with my choppers team. So that is with Lucy Gossage, I think Alice Hector joined us, and Nikki Bartlett joined us as well, and India Lee. So it was all of the top choppers out there. I obviously was an hour ahead being in Germany, so it meant I was racing about 8:30 in the evening. And it was a super long race for some reason that week. It was about an hour long. So by the time I finished at 9:30, I was buzzing from doing the race. I also was very fortunate because I had a traditional Austrian dish to try, which I actually believe Holly cooked this week and I didn't get to try it. So that was a really nice way to finish the race, by eating basically like torn up sugary donuts with apple jam and ice cream. So when I get back home, Holly, I need you to make me that as well. So that was a nice way to end the day. Okay, so on day 4, which was our final day, I had a little photo shoot to start the day where we were using similar lighting to what we used in the underground car park, which were kind of some slow motion, more serious shots that, again, I've had a sneak peek at some of them. They look really cool, so I'm sure we'll be sharing those as well, so stay tuned for those. And then we went and had the most probably exciting and useful part of the trip, which was the bike fitting on the Aerium TT bike. So we were just tweaking small things. It already felt pretty good when I got on the bike, but it's really cool to kind of just tweak those minor things, whether that's how the saddle is forward or back, mostly looking at the front end because that's obviously where you're more sensitive to the wind. So looking at the stack height, the angle of the bars, and just trying to get comfortable on the bike, which kind of seemed to be instant, to be honest. So that was a really successful session, and it was one of those ones where we saved almost the best till last, because that's going to be the most performance-driven outcome of all of my racing, is making sure that I'm comfortable on the bike but can also lay down the power as well. So obviously, once the day was done, we hopped back on a plane, flew back to the UK, and was pretty happy that it was a successful trip. Got to meet loads of people at Cube, and I'm just excited for the journey ahead. So obviously, coming across to the Cube brand, meeting the team, everyone I met was just so excited to go out of their way to, whether it be make the bike work for me as best as possible, explore new ideas, have kit that I love, so we actually personalise things to my taste and my personality. So I find that really exciting that I'll be able to almost put my own spin on things. I've never got to do that before, like I said. So I think it's going to be a really amazing partnership, not just in that I'm riding a super fast bike, but also that I'm just going to have fun working with the team and developing new products. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what is going to happen over the next few years. So I first heard about Cube quite a while ago, but I only knew of their mountain bikes, and that's all I'd really seen before. Up until I actually came into triathlon and was a bit more of a serious athlete, I saw some of the top pros racing on Cube bikes. Couldn't have really told you where they were based. I obviously now know that they are definitely a German brand, having gone and visited them. Cube Bikes is located in Baldaston in the Fitzroy Mountains. Close. And it probably was actually thanks to James Mitchell that the partnership kind of got the ball rolling with the relationship, because I think they had reached out to James, and obviously I know James really, really well, and he had suggested they would be a good brand to work with. And obviously since that initial conversation, things have developed, and we obviously now do have a partnership, and I'm already really excited about where this is going. I will be fluent in German. I'm Mutter and... Oh, no. Yes, yeah. No. I'm Mutter and I'm Vater. Yes. Thank you for watching this video about my new bike sponsorship with Cube. And let me know in the comments below if you predicted Cube was going to be the bike that I was working with. I don't think many of you did, so don't lie to me. I am so excited to get racing on the bike, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we haven't got to wait too long for racing in 2021. I want to go out there and prove that this is the fastest bike, and hopefully I'm going to be the fastest athlete on it as well. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully there's going to be racing, and stick around for loads more cool videos. Don't forget to click subscribe to stay tuned for those.